in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today's topic is COVID returns, impact on online education. In the last 20 years, the internet has grown from being nearly non-existent into the largest, most accessible database of information ever created. It has changed the way people communicate, shop, socialize, do business, and think about knowledge and learning. Much more than just a new twist on distance learning, online schooling is changing the face of traditional classrooms and making education more accessible than ever before. Online education is a form of education where students use their home computers through the internet. For many non-traditional students, among them all those who want to continue working full-time or raising families, online graduations and courses have become popular in the past decade. Often online graduation and course programs, some of which are conducted using digital technologies, are provided via the online learning portal of the host university. Online education emerged in 1982 when the Western Behavioral Sciences Institute in La Jolla, California opened its School of Management and Strategic Studies. The school employed computer conferencing to deliver a distance education program to business executives. In 1989, the University of Phoenix began offering education programs through the internet. In 1993, with the depth of the first internet web browser created by the University of Illinois, online education began to flourish. In 1998, the first fully online program started by New York University. In 2000, only 8% of students were enrolled in an online course, but by 2008, enrollment had increased to 20%. By 2013, nearly 30% of all post-secondary students were enrolled in some kind of distance education course. In 2020, the global coronavirus pandemic prompted many universities to hastily transition to online education in lieu of holding classes in person. The COVID-19 has resulted in schools shut all across the world. Globally, over 1.2 billion children were out of the classroom. As a result, education has changed dramatically with the distinct rise of e-education, whereby teaching is undertaken. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the government has been encouraging online education to achieve academic continuity. Most high-end private and public institutions have made the switch smoothly using online platforms such as Zoom, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, etc., while many still find it a Herculean task. The challenges of online education are multifaceted. It is time that we Indians as a society understand the realms of online education in India for India. Online education allows for learning something beyond the norms. A learner has access to unlimited topics and global experts in niche subjects, something otherwise not affordable or imaginable for many. Online programs allow people of a wide age group to learn at their own pace without inhibitions and without compromising on their own responsibilities. This is encouraging, but the moment online education moves from an optional to the only form of learning, and that too long term, the bad and the ugly slowly become evident. India is beginning to get a taste of this now. Using the internet for entertainment is common, but for online lessons is a big challenge. Teachers may not be well versed with creating digital content and conveying it effectively online. A sudden expectation from them to upgrade and from student to adopt is unfair. Body language and eye contact, which are important cues for the teacher, are difficult to perceive in an online class. Teachers do not receive continual feedback in the form of students' reactions during online sessions, which reduces the effectiveness of teaching. How many students have paid attention in a class? Of those, how many understood the lesson? Is the teaching pace is all right? Are some students getting left behind? These questions arise even in traditional classrooms, but they are harder to address in online classes. While India enjoys a wide geographic and cultural diversity, it also suffers from a huge socio-economic divide. Only a small part of the Indian population has access to online education right now. Interrupted power supply, weak or non-existent internet connectivity, and unaffordability to buy necessary devices are major concerns. It is a frustrating experience to engage students of lower classes in online mode. There are network issues on both teachers and students' end. To deal with internet connectivity and device availability issue, classes in many places are happening via sharing of videos by teachers over WhatsApp or YouTube so that students can watch them at their convenience. This too, however, comes with difficulties in understanding the lessons and promote rote learnings. The same is true of pre-recorded sessions aired on the television, for example, Swam Prabha DTH channels and radio audio lessons through All India Radio. Although they do cater to a wider student population that cannot avail live online classes. That is not all. With limitations of livelihood in a family, the first ones to receive a blow are often girls. In a recent survey of students studying in a government schools in Bihar, only 28% of the girls had smartphones in their homes, in contrast to 36% of the boys. These smartphones almost always belong to the male adults, often being lesser accessible to girls than boys, and half of these families could not afford internet data package. Therefore, lessons aired on the television was the main option for a majority of the students participating in this survey. However, girls were found to spend a disproportionately longer time on household chores than boys, which often overlapped with the time of telecast of these lessons. Such gaps in education could worsen the already wide gender gap in employment in India. Students with disabilities are among the most dependent on in-person education and hence least likely to benefit from distance learning. A survey by Swabhiman, an NGO working mainly in Odisha, in association with the National Center for Promotion of Employment for Disabled People, indicated that 73% of the students with disabilities had concerns regarding the availability of study material in appropriate formats. Also, 79% of their teachers were apprehensive about teaching effectively without use of touch to students with learning disorders, autism, and low vision. The lack of effective education may further aggravate the high dropout rates of these children from schools in developing countries. Now, the topic says COVID returns. Why? Why we say COVID returns? Because we have seen the COVID-19 impact in 2020. But this time, the second wave is more lethal. And to give some figures, on 17th April 2021, on 18th April 2021, that is yesterday, India registered 2,75,306 new cases. Earlier on 17th April, there were 2,60,778, which has taken the country's cumulative tally past 1 crore 50 lakhs 57,000 cases. Yesterday, 1,625 1625 people lost their life. Thus, total death due to corona raised to 1,78,793. According to health officials, India has administered 12 crores 26 lakhs 22,590 vaccines doses across the country as of yesterday, which is even less than 10% of the first dose. If we will consider both the doses, it is hardly 1%. And India, as per the medical experts, 70% populations have to be vaccinated to gain the herd immunity. And we don't know how much more time it will take, but government is trying. And I personally appeal, the media conference with Lal Goel, appeal to everyone, whosoever are eligible, please go to the vaccination center, get yourself vaccinated as early as possible. Don't listen or don't read or don't view the WhatsApp universities messages or the fake YouTube messages. The only way out, if we have to control this virus, if we have to control these new mutants, is only the way is vaccination. Now, coming to our main topic, and that is COVID returns impact on online education. Today, we have a very expert, learned, those who are authority in their field, panelists with us. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest. He is Professor Dr. R. Gopal. Professor Dr. R. Gopal is the director and head of the department, D.Y. Patil University. He is the former dean, D.Y. Patil University School of Management. He is basically an engineer from IIT Kharagpur in mechanical engineering. He is also MBA, ICWA, PhD, and postdoctoral research degree DLIT. He is also the member board of management of the Ajinkya D.Y. Patil University. He has more than 27 years of corporate experience with Bush India Limited, Larsen & Toubro, Tata Economic Consultancy Services, and Siemens. Additionally, he has more than 30 years of teaching experience in various B schools in and around Mumbai in the areas of marketing, finance, and general management, etc. He was the visiting faculty in several B schools in USA. In the USA, he has conducted several programs on topics like how to do business in India. He has also published more than 200 research papers, both in Indian and foreign journals. He has been awarded the Best Outstanding Research Paper Award at the Asia Pacific Marketing Conference held in Malaysia. He is also a reviewer to several international journals having a high impact factor. He is the guide for MPhil and PhD students of several universities in India. More than 100 research scholars have received their PhD and MPhil degree under his guidance. He is also the author of several books and is the chief editor to several national and international journals of repute. Dr. R. Gopal is the recipient of several national and international awards. Few of them are Rashtriya Vidya Saraswati Puruskar, Rashtriya Vikas Ratan Award, Glory of India Award, Rajiv Gandhi Education Excellence Award, Best Teachers Award, Best Management Teacher Award, Educationist Award, Star of Asia Award, and many, many more. Welcome, Professor Dr. R. Gopal on our show. Professor Dr. R. Gopal, you know that COVID has come back with a bang now this time. And you are in Navi Mumbai or in Maharashtra, where the maximum effect of this second wave is there. And because you are associated with a university and you are associated very closely with academics, and you have seen all the faces right from the very beginning and even the last year when the COVID struck. Now, again, the COVID has come back. We would like to know from you, COVID returns impact on online education. Professor Dr. R. Gopal, please.
Good morning, Lal Sahab, Dr. Paulos, Dr. Gaurav Bansal, Dr. Lakshmi Mohan, Dr. Shagufta Pawar. Good morning to all of you all. Good morning to all the participants viewing on the various TV channels, YouTube and Facebook, etc. My talk is kind of broken into three parts today. One, I want to talk on the issues and challenges on online teaching from the teacher's point of view. The second, I want to talk on the issues and challenges from the student's point of view. And then I want to talk on what strategies can we use so as to make it more interesting and more better. Let me begin. The year 2020 has been an amazing year, a year of anguish, a year of trepidation, a year of fear, a year of tremendous hardship, and more importantly, a year of high-level stress. It was more severe than the financial crisis, and COVID-2 has been more severe than COVID-1. It was also a year when individuals realized on the personal front the value of life, the value of friendship, the value of relatives, and more importantly, the value of the family. Many of my friends told me that suddenly they realized that the amount of work done by the spouse or the lady of the house is colossal, and they just now realized it. Earlier they thought, what is she doing? I'm only working, I'm working in my office and getting money and she's just spending it. But now they suddenly realize that there is more work there also. Macroeconomic front, it was again a not so good year. Recession, personal incomes fell, unemployment increased, and many of us lost jobs. For us as faculties, it was a year of great challenges. From offline to online, and in some cases, on a trial basis, we as institutions started on a hybrid mode. That means some lectures part-time offline and some lectures online, and then we switched back to online lectures. On an average, faculties welcomed online teaching, especially in Mumbai, but they found it to be very stressful. I personally carried out a small survey, which is called as a district survey, of around 30 faculties on a pan-India basis. And my entire talk today is based only on that survey which I had done and my own personal experiences. First, the challenges. 12 very important and critical challenges. One, for us faculties, understanding the technological ecosystem became a very big problem, and it got accelerated in 21-22. The pandemic threw open a new dimension, new platforms which we had never used, Zoom, Google Classroom, Cisco WebEx, and so on and so forth. Each of these platforms have different types of methods, different types of formats, and for us faculties were always used to teaching offline. This became a stressful area. Second, many faculties complained that they do not have the necessary equipment like a desktop or a laptop at home. In fact, the laptop or the desktop which they have is shared by their children, and this causes a large amount of stress. Typically, the lady faculties complained, as Lal also mentioned, that they've got to do the household work, plus look at their children's education, which is held from 9 a.m. or something like that to almost like 2 p.m. And there is a need for rescheduling all lectures, which becomes again difficult. Third, not so much in Mumbai, but several parts of the country, network issues are a major problem. Areas like Kerala, Bihar, UP, tremendous amount of problems. In fact, I was talking to some of the Airtel officials who said they will not abandon the 2G network. Why? Because in the, say, Tier 2, Tier 3 and some other rural, 2G network is most favorable compared to 4G or 5G. Power issues are there. And in places like Kerala, in places like UP, in places like Bihar, power cuts are the norms. And many faculties complained that while the lectures are going on, power cuts are seen, and therefore they have to abandon the lecture, restart it and reschedule it. One of the faculties mentioned to me Wayanad in Kerala and said Wayanad is an underdeveloped district of Kerala. and dependent on cattle and poultry. And because of this, there was a lot of disturbances when she was taking her lecture. I checked with other areas like Bihar and I found a similar problem. Distractions of the teacher from working from home. A few faculties mentioned that they have very small homes, maybe a one-room kitchen or a two-room kitchen. And they were living in a joint family mode. And because of the absence of daycare and because of the absence of large houses, there were a lot of disturbances at home through which they were not able to take the lectures and concentrate properly. And many of the faculties complained that their houses were very close to the roads. And you could hear the sound of ambulance coming and going, which was creating a tremendous amount of stress. Use of managerial games was also a big issue. One of the biggest challenges that the teachers face was teaching quantitative techniques like operation research, mathematical problems, etc. Appreciating non-verbal cues and body languages, which are very key, which are very important for us as teachers, became a big issue because many students put off their videos either because the bandwidth was low or something like this, and till teachers complained that they could not see the faculty's face, that they could not see the teacher's face, the student's face, and hence were not in a position to understand the non-verbal cues which the student was giving. And because of this, they were not able to modify their lectures so as to make it more interesting. Some teachers said, poor response. That means students did not respond to the faculties. And the teachers insisted on marks being given for class participation, giving surprise quizzes, and marks being given to the students. But this was all very cumbersome. Very critical, and very important. Teachers complained of visual fatigue, looking at the desktop or the laptop for more than 2 hours. And because of it, they found tiredness, they found body ache, and they found knee pain coming in, which is something really very critical. And I think, I wish and pray to God that we shift over once again to offline teaching as fast as possible. And very last important, slow learners could not be identified because of online teaching. And so special attention could not be given to differentially able students. When I talked to the students, for them they said, sir, network power outages are a big issue. Even in a city like Bombay, which boasts of a good power supply system and a good network system, students complained of network and power outages. And this can be seen. Students leaving and rejoining the session very often. Many of the buildings have become micro-containment zone, and because of it, students have major problems. In some cases, some of my own students have told me, sir, we have to go to large areas, you have to travel large miles before we get a good network or a good power system. And many of them therefore lost interest. And some of the network companies insisted on continuing with 2G. Some students, especially in the metros, said, sir, we are happy with online systems. And the reason is, they said multitasking. I said, what do you mean by multitasking? And they said, sir, while the lectures are going on, we can do all other work also. And some of them said, sir, we can listen to the lectures while traveling from, let's say, one place to another place in the bus or in a public system. So we save time and we are able to devote that time to something else also. Now, how does the teaching community overcome all this? What are the strategies that they followed? And I would request all educational institutions to follow the very important thing, very important one, orientation and use of online tools. Second, use of surprise quizzes and tests. Third, frequent attendance, at least twice, in a 2-hour lecture. But then faculties complain that they lost about 20 minutes. Group working should be encouraged by asking the students to make presentations and asking them to upload. In one of the institutions, they fostered a cultural and a networking system through group working by organizing 10 online cultural programs and 2 sports events, and this helped in bringing about a cohesiveness. Considering the COVID situation, my own expectation is that this COVID will last for maybe another year to 2 years. And in this time, we need to also think whether it's possible to have an hybrid mechanism, but I think it might be a difficult situation. Let me conclude by saying online teaching is here, whether you like it or not. And I do not know one thing, but I know that COVID is likely to remain for at least another 1.5 years. And we as teachers need to therefore be mentally prepared. We need to protect ourselves. And the name of this game is only vaccinate, 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 and COVID appropriate behavior. And why am I saying this? Because we faculties are responsible for the growth of the students. We can make or break the students. And that is very important. And to do all of this, we need to be alive. We need to be in good health. We need to be in good shape. And therefore, let us try to be healthy. Let us try to be safe. And thank you for patient listening. And God bless all of you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. One moment, please. I will just mute you. Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Dr. R. Gopal, for giving your views. And what Professor Dr. R. Gopal has done, he has conducted his own survey on the teachers and the institutions and the students. And he found the challenges, the opportunities, and what is to be done, or what improvisation is required. And he has explained in a very, very clear way. And he says in the end that the teachers can make and break. So they have to be healthy. They have to keep them healthy because they are the person whom the students are looking. But only my reservation is, Dr. Gopal, Professor Dr. Gopal, our leaders should also understand this thing, what you are talking. Why only teachers? Why all the pressure on teachers? Why not on the leaders? Why not others? People on the society? If they are not giving a role, they are also the role model of the youth and the students. If they are showing inappropriate behavior, and then to expect the proper behavior from the student, I think it is too much, because we should understand that everyone has to follow their leaders, everyone has to follow the teachers. But the condition of teachers, I will be coming to you the next round, and definitely I am going to ask about all those things as well as on online teaching. Thank you very much, Dr. R. Gopal, for giving such a nice analysis which we have done. And really, you have covered almost everything, what challenges today the teachers and students are facing. Although you have made one very interesting thing, that the students are happy because they are becoming multitasking. But as you are, I know that it's a bit in a sarcastic way, because if a student is doing some other work and just listening what is happening, what is the level of education or what education he's getting, one can understand. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. R. Gopal, for giving your very, very frank views. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she's Miss Shagufta F. Parker. Miss Parker is the head of school, Rasaj International School, Mumbai. She is MA B.Ed. She is energetic, enthusiastic, positive, and self-motivated, patient, loving, especially towards children. Techno-savvy, adaptable, initiator, creative, and self-starter. She worked as a teacher in Guru Harikishan High School, Mumbai. She worked as a teacher in Bombay Cambridge School, Mumbai. She worked as a teacher in Janki Devi Public School, Mumbai. She worked as a supervisor of the secondary section in Janki Devi Public School, Mumbai. Then she also worked as a principal in Janki Devi Public School, Mumbai. She worked as consultant principal for proposed Sally International School, Mumbai. She worked as zonal academic head, West Zone with Z Interactive Learning Services, Mumbai. She monitored Z franchise school CBSE in Maharashtra, Gujarat, MP, and Chhattisgarh. She worked as the founder principal of D.Y. Patil International School, Nerul, Navi Mumbai. She also worked as the head of a school with Mena Devi Bajaj International School, Mumbai. Welcome, Ms. Shagufta F. Parker on our show. Ms. Parker, you have heard what Professor Dr. R. Gopal has mentioned, and he has given the complete details as far as the his own survey, which he has conducted on teachers and students and institutions, and he has analyzed and he has given their opinions frankly. Now, you being a teacher for so many years and you have been associated with many, many prestigious schools of Mumbai and New Mumbai. And you have seen you have started your career from scratch and you have reached to the top. And you have done so much work in this field. And basically, you are still in this field only. Now, we would like to know from you the COVID returns impact on online education. Ms. Shagufta F. Parker, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal, for the elaborate introduction. Thank you very much. And good morning to all listeners all over the world and Mumbai. And my dear colleagues who are here with us today. Dr. Gopal's session was quite enlightening. And he has really highlighted the difficulties and the pros and cons of online learning. But yes, let me tell you, friends, that the year 2020 threw us unprecedented challenges, and it revolutionized, especially the education sector across India as well as the globe. Nowadays, we often use the terms pandemic, which is the new normal. This pandemic has shook educators and the student community alike. And not only that, the ill effect of this is unemployment even in the education sector. Many of the schools and educational institutions have reduced their faculty members and they've asked them to go on leave. And as a result, 27% of the teachers are without jobs and without any source of income as of today. There has been a paradigm shift in the way we look at the teaching learning process. The new normal has become the normal for times to come. And it is here to stay because as Dr. Gopal just said, that COVID is not leaving us so soon. It's going to be there at least for a year or two. Initially, when we started online teaching, I myself being a teacher, I realized that it was quite difficult to get used to the kind of technology required for teaching the students online. And there were multiple other problems which I faced as a principal. We got calls from the parents that they have just 1 or 2 devices and they have 3 children and all the 3 cannot take classes at the same time because the school functions at the same time for all students. But during offline classes, the children are in their classes and the teachers are with them. But now it became difficult for them to procure more instruments for the children, and it became difficult for us to create timetables. So we had to create a timetable, then rework on it. Then we got mails from the parents, and we had to make sure that each and every child got access to education, which is the need of the time. As children staying at home are actually imprisoned. They have lost, some of them have lost interest in studies. Some of them found it very difficult to, take online classes, and especially the younger ones. They could not sit and watch the screen for a long time. But all said and done, we have overcome all these difficulties. The teachers worked hard to make their lessons more interesting, and they got access to more trainings. As the teachers were getting trained, they were improving their classes, and this created an interest. So soon, say within 2 to 3 months, the children got adjusted to the new norms, and they started understanding that online is here to stay and that they have to study online. So, so it increased the use of online learning tools. People juggled between various apps and various tools of learning like Microsoft or maybe Google. We too tried, first we tried Zoom, and we saw that in between there were people, unscrupulous people entering the meetings and disrupting the meetings. Then we switched on to Cisco WebEx, and it was a trial and error method that we tried. And finally, we have now settled with Google Google Suite, which is a very good tool of digital learning. We say that necessity is the mother of invention. The recent global highlighted the benefits of online learning. Children got adjusted to the online learning. They realized that they cannot go to the campus so soon. The news and media played an important role in making the people understand that online is here to stay, and children, in case they want to move on to the next class, they have to study. So all this began, we sent Google Docs as examination papers. There were very easy examinations and assessments for the children. The children did very well. But we also realized that when these Google Docs came to us, or when the virtual papers that they wrote were scanned and sent to us, we realized that it was sometimes not the child's work. And we felt sad that the honesty and integrity of the children is lost during these online sessions. The children sat together, they discussed answers. The parents, at times we have even caught parents prompting to the children while the class was going on, because all the time when the supervisor is supervising the examination, she wants that the camera should be on. And at times we found parents, and that was really disheartening, that if parents can teach children to cheat, what are the children going to do? So these are some of the difficulties that we faced. Another difficulty was that when the higher classes, they wrote papers, they scanned and sent it to us. The children had to convert them into PDF files, and they had to send it to us. Then the teachers had to take a print from the school, which was a large volume, and the teachers had to assess the papers. When the teachers realized that it was not the child's work and the parents were called, then there were issues between the teachers and the parents. So here I will say that the teachers have really been very strong. They've been very supportive, and they've taken everything in their stride. Apart from this, they've also taken salary cuts in their stride. Not only unemployment, but the teachers have got salary cuts. They've opened their homes to children. They've opened their homes to families. Their privacy is lost. Their health has been affected, but still, I'm very sad to say that managements have deducted the salaries of teachers. In one way, the teacher has suffered, and of course, managements too have suffered. Because of this online learning, parents feel that not enough is being done from the school side. They're saving a lot of money, so they should not be charging full fees. Of course, the schools are only charging the tuition fees because we need to at least survive, and we need to break even, at least paying the salaries of the staff which is working. So parents have created a lot of problems for the schools by not paying fees, by sending viral videos here and there, and it's really difficult for especially principals, to coordinate with the parents, with the teachers, and with the students. It's been a very, very difficult job and a stressful time for all of us. So still, we are making an effort, and we are making an effort, and we are tiding these difficult times, and we feel that children need emotional support. So teachers have started conducting various activities. On 22nd, it is the Earth Day. So wonderful activities have been planned for the Earth Day. Children are making posters, so they're enjoying drawing. They're enjoying drawing and they're enjoying activities. And some of the parents are so supportive to the children that some of the activities that the children have done, they're getting them to the school and displaying them in the school, so that we feel that yes, the teachers are getting encouraged by all these things. So on the one hand, the teachers are discouraged, but the teacher community is a very strong community. They're emotionally, physically, and mentally strong people. I can say God has created teachers with special abilities, and these abilities are helping the country to tide these difficult times. Now we've observed that some of the children with learning difficulties are having a tough time with these online classes, and some of the teachers have been so kind that they've taken individual online classes. So this is, I think, one benefit of the online classes. Some of the teachers have gone out of their way and taken individual online classes for the children, and they've seen that these children are also coming into the mainstream and getting adjusted to these classes. On the other hand, we have some parents who cannot afford online classes, as Dr. Gopal has already stressed on this point. I'll not stress too much on this. They say that they cannot afford the internet costs, they cannot afford devices because their smartphones that they have are also not of a great quality. They cannot afford tabs or maybe laptops. I think if the community comes together and helps such students by donating devices on which they can study, it will be a real good thing. So friends, wherever you are listening, if you have any device or if you can afford to donate devices to such children, please do that. Government, to some extent, has helped teachers. They've started the Nishta courses, which is an online training for teachers. The teachers have got trained by experts, which was earlier payable, and teachers had to, they had to take time off school and go to attend these virtual meetings or conferences or training programs. But now the teachers are benefiting from these online courses, and I have seen a change in the way the teachers have started teaching. In fact, I feel that I have got a lot to learn during this pandemic. Earlier, we were just, on WhatsApp and things like that. But now, there are so many virtual meetings online. And I feel, the days have become longer for us as principals and teachers, because during the daytime, we are doing online classes. And most of the other meetings are in the evenings, post 4 o'clock. So I think, the working day has become longer for the teachers. The preparation time has become longer, because earlier the parents were not, seeing what the teachers were doing in the class. But now the teachers have become more conscious. They have become more responsible. That is a positive factor of online teaching. And parents have come to know the quality of teaching that a school does. So the school does not need any marketing now. I think the school has got, marketing through these online classes, because parents have realized that, yes, the teachers are really working hard. But I see that there is a change with the second wave of this COVID. Parents have come around. Many of the parents had applied for leaving certificates in our schools, thinking that they will not be able to afford this school and they would go to a smaller school. But when they realize that online is here to remain, the schools are not reopening, I've observed that some of the parents have taken the LCs, leaving certificates back. So that's a positive thing, which shows that parents have also now accepted the fact that online teaching is useful. Now, another important fact that I would like to stress here is that earlier in some of the countries of the world, online education degrees were not acceptable, especially in the Gulf. The correspondence course degrees were not acceptable, especially in the Gulf. But now I think it's a positive thing that these degrees will also be acceptable everywhere. So there are the positive things of COVID and there are the negative things of COVID. But I think if we look at the positive things, we stay safe, we take care of ourselves, and we, as Mr. Lal as well as Dr. Gopal said, that we must get vaccinated. And I hope everybody goes for vaccinations and even our children get a chance to get vaccinated soon. India is a big country, and we hope that soon the virtual classes will start. We'll get to see our children, we'll get to hug them. We see our schools teeming with kids, we see noise, which we've been missing like anything. There's so much of silence in our lives that we're waiting for the noise. Earlier, the teachers used to feel that the class is very noisy. And some of the teachers would bang a duster on the table to keep the children quiet. But now the silence is really disturbing. We're waiting for our little kids to come back to school and make as much noise as they want. But online will still stay. Teachers will take opportunities to help children who are left behind in classes, bridge the gaps between the learnings that they have missed out and things like that. So online is here to stay, and we are here to adapt online, and we are here to accept online, not only ourselves, but everywhere. So thank you so much, Mr. Lal, for inviting me and making me a part of this wonderful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shagufta Parker. And what Ms. Parker has mentioned, three very important points. First point is that 27% of the teachers lost their jobs. They are not getting any money from anywhere. That is a very, very alarming and sad situation. Second point, she says that the students' character has been tempered, or they've started learning cheating because either the family, the parents, they are prompting them to write a correct answer or giving them the clues, or with the other siblings, etc. Now, this is also a very, 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 very alarming thing, because if the character of a child at this age will be hampered or tempered, what is going to happen for the future of the country or future of that child only? So that is a very, very important point. And the third point which she has mentioned is that although the school and colleges are not opening because of the COVID, but now they have adopted the online education very nicely, and this is going to stay. And earlier people were thinking now online is over, but now online is going to stay. And she says that as a teacher, as a principal, they are waiting for the students to come. They can hug them, they want them to make noise, which earlier they were fed up with the noise. Now they want that students come and make the noise. Thank you very much, Ms. Shagufta Parker, for giving your views. I'm sure you have covered almost everything, and all the viewers who are watching are totally enlightened. And especially my appeals to the parents, that if you can afford, please see to it that your students, you pay the fees to the institution will pay to the teachers, so teachers can give you the quality education to the students. If you want your child to get a quality education, you have to make the payment. And one more important thing which he has also mentioned, which I would again repeat, is she also appealed to everyone, those who can afford or those who have extra devices, to donate. Although I said no donation, it is that they are helping, they are just giving for their own sake, for their own children, whether their own children or their neighbors' children or the children of the community. After all, we are civil society, we must consider. Thank you very much, Ms. Shagufta Parker, for giving such a nice your opening remarks. Now, I would like to invite my next guest, and she is Dr. Lakshmi Mohan. Dr. Lakshmi Mohan is the director of ITM Business School, Navi Mumbai. She is a professional with more than 2 decades in teaching, training, and heading institutions, coupled with half a decade of corporate exposures in companies like LB and DHM. She headed the ITM Chennai campus for 3 years and was associated with Times and ICFAI in the capacity of campus head. Dr. Lakshmi is a doctorate in management, postgraduate in education management and human resource management, and master's in English literature. She is a core committee member of Higher Education Forum and member of CII Education Committee. She has been invited as a speaker at various forums and has a penchant for writing articles on leaderships and management areas. Dr. Lakshmi Mohan is an external member on the board of Ultratech Cement Limited, Aditya Birla Group for POSH. Dr. Lakshmi is a recipient of the APJ Karamveer Chakra in 2014 for inspiring youth to contribute towards society. She was an awardee for Women Achiever from NSA and Higher Education Forum bestowed on her the Best Emerging Director Award in 2015. In 2017, Fine Arts Society bestowed FAS Istri Ratna Award, which was presented by Dr. Rajshri Birla to Dr. Lakshmi in recognition of her illustrious contribution and achievement in the field of education. National Foundation for Entrepreneurship Development, NFED, conferred the Outstanding Women Professional Award to Dr. Lakshmi Mohan. In 2020, Dorai Foundation bestowed the Exemplar Award, and Vidyava Sarvadhanam bestowed Best Teacher Award on occasion of National Teachers Day to Dr. Lakshmi Mohan. In 2021, Heartfulness Education Trust bestowed Heartful Professor Award to Dr. Lakshmi Mohan for initiating moral development of students. Dr. Lakshmi believes that progress is possible with change and growth mindset. Welcome, Dr. Lakshmi Mohan, on our show. Dr. Mohan, you have heard Professor Dr. R. Gopal, you have heard Ms. Shagufta Parker, and they have explained in detail about the online challenges, opportunities, and what is to be done in future in the online education. Now, we would like to know from you the COVID returns impact on online education. Dr. Lakshmi Mohan, please.
Good morning and thank you, Mr. Goel, Dr. R. Gopal, my good friend, Shagufta ma'am, and Mr. Bansal. Of course, all the viewers too. It's a great pleasure to be here in this particular panel discussion. The connotation of AD and BC has now changed, and now we have, AC, BC, and RC. So after Corona, before Corona, and return of Corona. So amongst all this, we find that change is your closest friend and change is constant. At ITM, I remember in the month of February, it's just 2 months back, we made an announcement to all our students that we are going to have hybrid classes. So we had many of these students who came to Mumbai to study with us in the classrooms. It seemed much better, with the pandemic, which had created enough havoc. But then unfortunately, COVID returns, and then we have again gone back to complete online education. Again, if I have to recollect what happened a year back, in the month of March, 2020, when our students were actually preparing for their examination, they'd also given one exam, and suddenly the government proclaimed lockdown. We had to stop the examinations midway. We also had to stop the industry internships briefly because the students were to join the industry from April onwards. So we have something called a 5 months industry internship, which gives the students real corporate world learning. And students were pretty excited about this internship that was going to happen from April to August. But we had to connect with almost 293 companies. We had to request them to allow the students to work on virtual mode. And we had to convert all the internships to, work from home opportunity or virtual mode. This could happen, of course, because corporates also cooperated with us and they themselves had to work from home. So we can see so many changes that have happened, and it has all been so sudden, and we have all had to adapt to the changes that's been happening around us in the environment. We also, had online examinations for the students. So we managed to complete the examinations. And instead of April 1st, from April 15th onwards, the students onboarded the corporates and started with their internships. So what I can foresee now is that we are coming out with a PPT model. It is not the typical presentations that we do, but it is people, process, and technology which is undergoing dynamic changes. And I think that's what we are witnessing. So when I say people, we have got 4 pillars of the education industry, and that is students, teachers, corporate professionals, and accreditors. And we can see already the change, the dynamism that's happening here in these 4 stakeholders. The students have gone on to learning how to study online, which never happened earlier. They were all confined to the classrooms. We have teachers now upskilling themselves, learning new pedagogies, understanding how to teach online, and making the best of, out of their knowledge, and making the best out of the gadget that is available in order to transfer the knowledge. We look at accreditors again, rethinking education, especially with the national education policy that's coming in. And the corporate professionals, of course, have changed the way they would work, and also have changed the way they would, kind of recruit students from campuses. So these are all interconnected, and we can see the dynamic change that's happening in all those stakeholders who are connected with education. The second is process. When I say process, I would again want to divide this into 3 areas: administration, pedagogy, and also, the way we look at the whole education scenario. So if you look at the pedagogy, undoubtedly it has changed. Teachers are now looking at polling, quizzes, giving assignments with rubrics, and so on. So there has been a change even in the kind of process that is involved in each campuses. If you look at administration, I think there is more focus on safety. There's more focus on hygiene, sanitization, health. So today, even at the campus level or school or institutional level, everybody has become very conscious about health. And administration is especially focusing on all these areas. Also looking at bringing in enough of collaboration within the system. The third is the technology. And I think it is believable when we see around us the kind of change that artificial intelligence, machine learning, or the thinking machines, IoT has brought into the whole industry, not only in the education arena, but I think across. So that's the PPT model that I was talking about, where you find drastic and dynamic changes happening with people, processes, and technology. I think every pandemic would, which is a crisis, also brings in certain opportunities. Here, there are some opportunities that I foresee when we look at online education. Digital has brought in certain efficiency, which otherwise was missing. Today, we have moved from, room to Zoom. We have, teaching through Google Classroom, Google Meet, and also Zoom and Microsoft Teams. For us at ITM Business School, we use Google Classroom and Google Meet, and that works out excellent. In fact, with Google Classroom, what I see is maintaining your attendance records, maintaining the teaching records has all become quite convenient. How about rubrics? When you give an assignment, when I give an assignment to the students today, I attach rubrics. I make it transparent enough for the students to know on what basis they are going to be given markings. So it's become easy for the students to understand what's the pattern in which an assignment is set. How about plagiarism checker? So a Google Classroom has got plagiarism checker, through which we are able to understand whether the student has copied from the internet. Collection of projects. So in the earlier times, we would have the students mailing us the projects. But today, we can have a Google Classroom and collect all the projects in one classroom. So I can collect about 350 projects through a Google Classroom, which otherwise would have been very cumbersome if they have to mail to each of us as faculty mentors. I do a case study using breakout rooms. And these breakout rooms are possible in Google and Zoom, where I can create teams and make them discuss and also get into those discussions to enable, and enhance their discussions. So look at the kind of convenience that we have moved into, or efficiency that we have moved into through digital. Teaching is also made interesting using Facebook, Instagram, blogs, using polling, quiz, role play, storytelling. So there are n number of ways that we can actually bring into the classroom, into a digital classroom. It's all up to the teachers to invent, innovate, and find out what is best for their class. But at the same time, there are certain disadvantages, I would say flip side of online teaching. And this is what the other panel members also mentioned, where you have students putting off the camera. So you don't know whether they have gone to sleep or whether they are having their lunch or they're not around at all to listen to you. So putting off your camera, giving reasons that you have poor connectivity has become a very common reason for students to put off their cameras. How about the video fatigue? One of the reasons probably they want to put off their camera is they're fed up of sitting through sessions all through the day, sitting through webinars, sitting through conferences. So there's a video conferencing fatigue that has actually is troubling not only teachers, but also students. And we need to empathize with these category of people who are actually put on the screen almost major part of the day. Network issues, power cut issues, I think these are all problems when you have online teaching. But at the same time, if the sessions are recorded, then probably it can be made use. The students can make use of it at some other time. How about the emotional connect, which is missing? You don't have the students in with you. You don't hear them. You don't sense them making noise. You're not able to talk to them the way you used to talk when you had their presence in the institution. So what's happening to that social connect and the emotional connect, which is missing? And what do we do about that? How about the cybersecurity threats? Right? I think Dr. Gopal once mentioned to me how suddenly there was an infusion of unnecessary images when a teacher was teaching. So how about all these security threats? But I think one very important and pertinent point for all of us to know, and we are all aware of, is that online is here to stay. And all the panel members mentioned about this. It's also important that we should not fear technology. Technology is again here to stay, and it will keep changing dynamically. Now, the fear among teachers that maybe technology is going to overpower them should never happen. Because be it a 4G or a 5G, I think a Guruji will always remain important. The prominence of the Guruji will stay on. Innovation and collaboration is important today. I think that's one way we can give the best to our students. Today we have international professors who are willing to, talk to our students because it is online. Otherwise, they will have to pay a huge cost, traveling all the way to India. or we may have to bear the cost. But imagine students are able to hear all these eminent scholars sitting in their homes. So that convenience is something that has set in. Rigidity is stupidity. And very truly said by Dr. Maitri, if we are going to be rigid, I think we will lose out on learning, because learning will have different modes and we need to adapt ourselves to that different modes. How about faculty upskilling? We have our faculties who had to suddenly move on to online teaching. Were they into online teaching like Western countries? No. But then, yes, they moved into online teaching, adapted themselves. But it's also important for them to know what are the new methodologies that they can use, like jam boards, video sessions, like case discussions. I think there's a lot that faculties need to be upskilled on. How about training the students on futuristic technologies? Do we have something of that sort in our curriculum? Have we thought of bringing in the transformation or the best transforming technologies in the UG classrooms? I think this is something that students need to know. Growth mindset. I think all of us will agree that it's the growth mindset that's most crucial at this hour. At ITM, we have a wellness center. And believe me, though we have moved online and the wellness center is not anymore being used on campus, all of us use it in the online mode. So we have our meditation sessions, we have masterclass on various aspects of spirituality, and we support one another in, balancing ourselves during this pandemic. Gone are the days when we used to overfeed the students with content. Today, students are looking at bite-sized content. Can we do that? Can we create mini videos and enable this for the students? So can we look at changing the way we have been addressing the students? We cannot teach what was taught yesterday. I think we need to look at how we can make things better and more modernized and align it to what's happening in today's times. Speed has overtaken size. You all will agree with me. It is the size that matters. Even in that few 15 minutes or 20 minutes, what's the kind of impact a teacher can make, even in that online presence, does matter. So when I was talking about content that we used to, kind of overfeed, I'm reminded of a buffet that we used to give them, right? But today it's a la carte. We have to give the student what he needs the most. It is futile to teach them everything on earth. Give them what is important for them and what can be digested. From I think teacher learning centric, teacher centric, we have moved to student centric. From peer learning centric, we have moved to, individual learning centric. I think that's the kind of attention that we have to give our students today in spite of online teaching. Of course, future belongs to perpetual learners, and the learning should never stop, be it for teachers or even for students. I think that continuous learning is what will keep us fresh and energized, be it online or offline. So wishing you all a very safe and happy life. Stay safe and keep yourself vaccinated. Thank you so much, Mr. Goel, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lakshmi Mohan. And you have explained each and everything very clearly, new definition of PPT. And you have also mentioned that now the time of buffet has gone, one should go for the a la carte. So thank you very much. I would not like to summarize because of the paucity of time. I would like to invite my next guest, because I remember when we were discussing pre-live telecast, and the apprehension was that we will be talking to 12 minutes. I think all the panelists have crossed their limits. So now I'm going to my last panelist, not the least. He is Mr. Gaurav Bansal. Mr. Gaurav Bansal is BTech, MTech. He is the TGT math teacher in Gyandeep Shiksha Bharati Senior Secondary School, Mathura. He has also published his research papers during his MTech in IEEE International Conferences, IIT Delhi, MNIT Jaipur, MET University also. Welcome, Mr. Gaurav Bansal on our show. You have heard Professor Dr. R. Gopal, you have heard Ms. Shagufta Parkar, as well as Dr. Lakshmi Mohan. Now, we would like to know from you the COVID returns impact on online education. Mr. Gaurav Bansal, please.
Ji, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity on this platform. And welcome and very good morning to all panel members, Dr. R. Gopal and Dr. Lakshmi Mohan and Shugufta's ma'am. So without wasting our time, I would like to come to my point that how this COVID return or COVID-19 impact on the online education. First of all, I would have to say that there are two aspects of everything, positive aspects and negative aspects. First, I would like to speak about the negative aspects of this thing. As you all know that online education is totally based on the internet service provider, that is ISP. If internet service provider is weak or it is less in communication, then online education is not that much possible to do. So if I talk about COVID return, due to the COVID effect, the ISPs are affected very largely. That is internet service provider. Means in the online education, if a student is learning something that is totally based on the Wi-Fi or the network, and if there is a network issue, then it is not possible to do the online education. So this is one of the effect. And another one is, if I talk about in the rural areas, there is a large impact of this COVID-19, because in the rural areas, the students are not that much comfortable of this network connectivities of these Android phones. Those students are not that much comfortable with these kind of online educations. So next point is, if I talk about the college student, school students is totally different and college students is totally different, in the sense that if I talk about the recruitment process or the placement, some of the students are not familiar with the webcam or the camera. So they somewhere they drawback is they just lack of their confidence, and due to which the placement is not that much high. So this is a drawback in the school or in the college student as well. Now, if I talk about school students, as we all know that students are promoted as government rules, students are promoted to the next class. So this is one of the weak point for the teachers as well, because teachers are what they are seeing, that the students are promoted to the next class and with not the proper performance. Means if there will be the physical classes on the basis of test and proper performance with the proper knowledge, if students are going to the next class, then it is very good thing for the teachers. But nowadays teachers are doing very hard, because they are giving the students knowledge to the previous class concept and present class concept as well. So this is one of the drawback for the teachers as well and student as well, due to this COVID-19. Now next is, if I talk about the students preparing for the NDA or the preparing for the army, they have to be practice of physical in the physical field, and due to this COVID-19, no students are going outside for the practicing. There is no proper practice for the physical activities. So physical activities are also affected due to this. So this is also a negative effect. And if we talk about unable to focus on the screen, means if teachers are teaching to the students and students for no longer time they are focusing on the screen, and they are distracting due to the several sites like social medias and other website as well, and teachers are not that much engaging the students. Okay, so that's why what I thought, I just did one thing, that what teachers are delivering to the students, that must be engaging. As a math teacher, if I talk about what I deliver to the student is totally animated videos, so that the student get engaged in the videos, understand the concept instead of going to the social networking site. This is one of the plus point for the teachers, that teachers are doing very hardly in this situation. And if I talk about the how many students are affected in this world, in the India, if I talk about 131 million students are in government school, 119 million students are in private school. Total, if I talk about 250 million students are there in the India, and it is somewhere like 25 crore students. And if I talk about the figure, if I talk about 80% of students are getting the proper online education, let's take this figure. 80% of students are taking the proper online education. If 20% students are not getting the proper online education, it means 5 crore students are not getting the proper online education. It's a large figure, it's a large number of students that are not educating right in nowadays. So this is one of the biggest impact on the online education, on the student, on the teachers as well. There are some advantage or plus point or plus aspects of this thing, that efficiency, if I talk about. In the efficiency, online education, teachers are providing the education in the forms of PDFs, as Dr. Lakshmi ma'am says, that in the forms of PDFs and lesson planning, videos. Classroom application is one of the best application nowadays, because teachers can share their attachment files and provide various videos there, link for the videos. Everything is compatible for the students. Second point is it's all about accessibility of the timetable, time and places. Means if I talk about the positive response of this COVID-19 on the online education, which is students are able to get the education from their home places, from the places where they choose. And online lectures can be recorded. Means if students are not getting the proper lecture during the live classes, then the video can be provided to the student, so that a student can easily understand the concept after the live class, whenever he or she want to study about the lecture. So these are the some points. And at last, I just want to say, because I know the time is not that much, so I want to say that at last, online education is good, but not for the permanent purpose. Means there should be a physical classes, there should be a online education can be parallelly going. In the future, we can parallelly move this online education with the offline education as well. But this is not the permanent solution that online education should be goes in the future. So these are the points that I want to mention in this. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gaurav Bansal. Only one question before I will come for the regular. You are BTech, MTech, and you are teaching on 6th, 7th, 8th classes, the mathematics. Is it correct, or what? Which classes you are teaching?
Sir, in the school, I'm teaching 6th, 7th, 8th mathematics, but in the coaching, I teach 12th standard as well.
No, so
and I just want to say
my only question is it your passion for the education, or you are not getting the requisite job which you want, because you are a qualified BTech and MTech and you are teaching for 6th, 7th, 8th, or nowadays it is a common thing that the MTechs are teaching the 6th, 7th, 8th classes?
Sir, actually, this is my passion. That's why I did the MTech. That is master.
Okay.
That is master. And I also I also taught the BTech student MITRC Engineering College, Alwar, Rajasthan. That is RTU affiliated. I switched to this field just to give the proper education to the school level.
Okay, very good. I think we require such types of teachers today who are highly qualified and ready to teach to the young or the classes like 6th, 7th, 8th classes, so that the standard of education can improve. Thank you very much, Mr. Gaurav Bansal, for giving your views. Now my question goes to Professor Dr. R. Gopal, with a request to all of you, please don't cross the limit of 1.5 minutes, not more than that. Otherwise, I have to say be brief. Professor Dr. R. Gopal, you are associated with the government very closely. I know very well. You also know very well. And government of the day today is encouraging the privatization. They have privatized the airports. They have privatized almost everything is good under the privatization, the bank, etc. Then why they are not support to the private universities, the private colleges? If those who are already privatized, those who are already private institutions, if the government of the day is not ready to support today, then why they are allowing the other existing government organizations to be privatized? No salary cut in the government universities, no salary cut in the government colleges, but the salary cut and the salary and the job losses only in the private institution. Professor Dr. Gopal, please. Please unmute. Please unmute, Dr. Gopal. Please unmute. Please unmute. Yes, please.
Well, sir, thank you very much. This is a very interesting question that you have asked. The government had started a two-pronged attack. One is because they are not able to meet the GER ratio. they said we will open up for the private sector as well as the public sector. Now slowly they are doing this because many of the state governments have offered private universities to the private entrepreneurs. But there is always a bias among the government organizations, and that is including the bureaucrat, that many of the private colleges are making money on education. And the government feels that you cannot have money. And the private people are saying, how do we operate if we don't make money? So they brought in Shikshan Shulk, they brought in all the various fee regulations and all that. The government is still not very happy. They bought the deemed university, they bought the state private universities, but a lot of restrictions are there. And these restrictions are mainly because of the biasness of the educational ministry, which gives a lip service and then actually does something else. The NEP 2020 has opened up a great vista for all of this. And I think in future, private education will take a upstart and will move forward in a big way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's hope that the National Education Policy 2020 will give a good vista, as you have mentioned. Thank you very much, Dr. Gopal. Now my question goes to Ms. Shagufta Parker. Online education is for rich urban students, not for poor rural students. 70% of the Indian students stays in rural area, and the divide in rich and poor. Although I know that three of your panelists are from the metro city, and where the school or colleges which you are heading is a very niche school and college. But what about those who are in rural area and the poor? What you say about that, Ms. Parker?
Children cannot, though the classes are being conducted, they are unable to attend. Then the problem of devices, because the children in the rural areas don't have affordability for these devices. So online as well as offline is recommended for rural areas. And we've observed that in the rural areas, the effect of COVID is not very strong.
No, I'm sorry, Ms. Parker. Now that this second wave is not living anywhere, it is even reaching the rural area. So,
but the thing is, it's a challenge for the people in rural areas to take online classes.
So shall we say that this year we will only teach to the rich and urban classes student, let the poor and the rural students to wait for 1 or 2 years more. They should not get any education, and we will have a divided society. We will say only education for the rich class, urban class, not for the poor and rural, because we have not
disagree. I disagree, Dr. Lal.
I know, but we have not learned any lesson. We could not create an infrastructure for the rural area. We have 2020 whole year has passed. We are now in the 13th month of the pandemic. If we could not create an infrastructure in a rural area, then what is the use? Anyway, thank you very much, Ms. Parker. Now my question goes to Dr. Lakshmi Mohan. Dr. Lakshmi Mohan, the problem everyone is saying about the cost-wise, the device or the internet. When the private institutions are charging money, or the government, whosoever is charging money, whatsoever amount, why not they take some extra amount, or they should subsidize, which includes the device, which includes the internet package for the entire year. And I'm sure if they will negotiate with the telecom services provider, they will get a very, very good and very subsidized rate, where it will not be a burden neither to the students, nor to the institution, nor to the teachers. And it will be given to all the teachers. Should be given to all the students free of charge. What do you say about this, Dr. Lakshmi Mohan?
What you mentioned, Mr. Goel, is 100% true. I think this is the way forward. If we have to give quality education to the students with uninterrupted, internet connectivity, this could be one of the best ways to solve this major problem of connectivity issues. Okay. Students say that they would not, or parents say that they would not want to pay the fees because we have gone online. But the fact is, your fixed costs remain. For any educational institution, be it salaries of your your teaching, non-teaching staff, your security, housekeeping, maintenance of the campus, everything is there, right? But yes, I think keeping a portion of the fees for maybe, enabling connectivity or, connecting or integrating with telecom providers could be a very good way forward.
Okay, thank you much, Dr. Lakshmi. My question goes to Mr. Gaurav Bansal. You've been an MTech. Now I'm asking you, is your school or you are providing to the accessibility to your students the libraries, the best libraries whichever is available? Have you tied up? Or in India, I have no idea, because I know in USA what they are doing is all the schools from the very beginning to the top, they have tied up with the best libraries of the world. The library gives the complete report to the teacher or those whomsoever the college assigned, that this student has visited the library, virtual I am talking, and this page he has studied or she has studied for so much time. So the teacher knows what is going on, whether the student is updated. Have we started this in your school or in the Indian schools, Mr. Gaurav Bansal?
No, sir. Actually, we didn't tie to any of the organization or institution. Actually, we have a individual software. On that software, every teacher can see what students, which student chooses which books, and all the record are in that software particularly. We didn't tie to someone.
Okay. Thank you very much. So today you have seen the impact, COVID returns impact on online education. There are plus points, there are minus points, but there is lots of scope. But only problem is that we have lost the opportunity. We had 13 months, we have not learned the lesson. If we would have, because the pandemic which started say in March last year, and it was eased somewhere in August or September, October, if we would at that time, we would have developed more things, if we would have come out with some innovative ideas, or we would have seen what the Western countries or the USA is doing, because after all, they are in online far more ahead than us, then we would have implemented and we would have not had this problem. But one thing is very clear, online education is going to stay at least for this year. We are not an astrologer to predict it for the next year. And my appeal is to the government as well as to the civil society, please think that the students are the real you can say the future or the main of this country. If we are not going to give them the support at this time, as well as to the teachers and the educational institutions, what is going to happen? How come we can claim that our doctors can save the lives? After all, the doctors have also studied in the colleges or schools, and the scientists who are working day and night to find out the new vaccine to which can kill the variants which are coming and mutants are coming. Thank you very much, all the panelists. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon se Samvad Sarocar News, as well as shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you every day a new topic. And tomorrow, media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. The topic is Revisiting Heritage. And our panelists are Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS, One-Man Expert Commission on Labor, Principal Advisor, Heritage Project, Government of India, Professor Dr. Anupa Pandey, Professor and Head, Department of History of Art, Director and Pro Vice Chancellor, National Museum Institute, New Delhi. We have Mr. Neoli P. Rajshekharan, writer, music composer, and CEO, Guru Management Consultants, Bengaluru. Dr. Puneet Gupta, he's a MBBS, MD, DNB, DM, founder, MD, spiritualbiology.com, and Puneet, codeindus.com, New Delhi. So please tune in tomorrow, media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. R. Gopal. Thank you very much, Ms. Shagufta Parkar. Thank you very much, Dr. Lakshmi Mohan. And thank you very much, Mr. Gaurav Bansal. Sorry, I'm out of time. And thank you all the viewers for watching our show. And thank you all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.